Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories where people comply to the letter but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called A Small Price to Pay. I work in a residential building as a facility manager. Think receptionist, but instead we handle mail/organize contractors and make sure the readings on the building equipment don't exceed a certain amount. There's a chute bin in the building I work at, so we also push out the bins once they filled out, but don't need to actually handle the waste inside them. It was a quiet evening and I'd already done all there was to be done when a lady comes down really panicked and says she accidentally threw something down the chute. A new laptop charger. No stress. Normally in situations like this I just head over, use one of the many tools we have, think Dino Grab stick but a bit bigger, to fish it out, give it back and everybody goes home happy. I tell her no problem and ask for a description of the bag she threw it out in and tell her to sit tight on the comfy lounge chairs since it would take about 10 minutes. I had to shut the trash chute, plus find the bag to pull it out, etc, etc. She gets a bit irate and says she wants to come with me and I just go, okay. When I get to the bin room, I notice there's glass all over the floor around the chute and let her know for safety reasons I'll have to sweep this up first and that she's more than welcome to go back to the lunch and sit. This would take like 5 minutes tops. She gets mad and says she will wait right here. I once again just go, okay. After about a minute though, she leaves, which makes me think she finally took me up on that offer. So I go and sweep up the glass and get started on closing the chute. There's a lever, when her boyfriend, who is even angrier, appears. He starts going off at me and telling me to hurry up and do my job, as well as that I had no place to tell this woman what to do. At this point I go, okay. I head back to my desk, where I pull out some vinyl gloves as well as the very specific part of the guidelines that said that facility managers are not expected to go through trash to which we've lost items and can leave it up to the residents' discretion. I pass him the gloves and show him that specific part of the guidelines, to which his eyes go wide and he starts getting predictably even angrier. He proceeds to tell me to F off, so I oblige. I then watched on CCTV as he starts reaching into the bin elbows deep trying to fish out his trash bag, all while Matrix dodging incoming bags from above since the chute bin gate wasn't closed. He finally fishes out his bag and what do you know, he tears it open on the ground and it didn't have the laptop charger. Naturally he left the torn bag open on the ground, so after he left I went back to sweep it up. A small price to pay. The next story is called No Exceptions. This happened a few years ago. At the time I was working for a local ISP in one of their shops. My job was basically tech support on the spot, i.e. data transfer from devices, opening tickets for customers for their outages and the sort. Among my duties I had to sell phone equipment, such as cases, chargers, etc. I really liked my job. The customers were somewhat nice, being that they are mostly older people who didn't know how to use their device. I enjoyed helping them, and in return they'd stop by with pastries from local bakeries. I had this one boss who was a stickler for numbers. Now he wasn't necessarily a bad boss, but his unhinged obsession with our targets was weird. The man would not comprehend that sales were down because no people were coming in. Weird guy. Anyway, one day he calls me up to his office and has this strange one-on-one talk with me about how I need to get my sales number up, even though I don't work in sales. I asked him if he had a certain idea how I should do this, seeing as most of my clientele are older people who don't need selfie sticks, external batteries and stuff like that. Figure it out, offer it to everyone, no exceptions. A few weeks go by and he calls me up to his office again for what I thought would be a one-on-one again, but lo and behold he needs a favor. His dad was in town and he would need me to stay an extra paid hour to transfer data from his dad's old phone to a new one because he had an important meeting to attend. Sure thing, boss. His dad comes in, and this man is such a good guy. We started talking and laughing about sports, cars and other different stuff. And then it hit me. Cue malicious compliance. I offer this man everything. Stuffed his bag with all the goodies, and the final bill came to around $200 instead of $3. He walked out happy. My boss on the other hand wasn't so cheerful. Never again was my productivity questioned. I quit a few months later. The last story is called Ancient Ground Compliance. I bought a house in Manchester, UK, which I thought was freehold, but turned out to have an ancient ground rent, sort of like a leasehold. This ground rent was the grand sum of £4 per year. For the first few years I received a hand-type bill once per year, as the ground rent was owned by an elderly lady. Presumably the ground rent was an old family asset. I paid the bill promptly by check. After all, it was only £4. Now, I think the elderly lady died, because for a while the charge was collected by the legal company in charge of her estate. However, the ground rent was then sold to a larger company, whose primary business was debt collection and who were aggressive about collecting the rent quarterly. Still, that was not really a problem, but I was annoyed enough at having to send 4 checks for £1.50 a year to investigate further, with a view to purchasing the whole thing myself. I found out that firstly, all these ancient ground rents would be annulled in 2020, or somewhere around then, so there wasn't actually much to pay if I wanted to purchase the whole thing. I think it was about £80. I also found out that under the ancient law pertaining these ground rents that I had to pay the fee or give them produce from the land to the value of the fee. I told you it was ancient. Additionally, the ground rent holder had to collect the rent, that is, at the door, in person. So next time the company sent me the vaguely threatening bill, I simply sent them a letter offering produce for my garden to the value of the fee. I had some nice tomatoes at the time, so offered them those and left it to them to decide when they wished to collect. Of course, the company never came to collect any tomatoes and tried to get me to send the money to them and threaten legal actions, etc. However, once I sent another letter to their legal guy, pointing him to the law on the matter, I then received a one-off offer to buy the entire ground rent for £25, which I did. A good result, as I was completely happy with buying at the market price of £80. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.